Well, welcome everyone to our Builders Call. I love doing these Builders Calls after I listen to Andy because Andy always stirs things in me. I love when he goes down themes of stuff like filtering, what you're looking for. I love when he talks about what you have to invest, time, money, and emotion. The most important is time. When you invest your time into people, the filter process to figure out which type of person that you invest your time in that will have the biggest return on investment. I love when he talks about the hair force, the hair force. That just stuff cracks me up. It's weird to think that he thinks of me like that I'm one of those, face cards, I guess. God knows I don't ever think of myself like that for sure. But I guess, when you lead to, I guess what it is when you find someone that is a face card, means someone that has kind of the character and they've shown in their past a certain performance of overcoming, that they probably know people like that. And so through me, he's found Mike and Noel Leventovich and Patrick and Suzanne Connors and a whole host of other people. I mean, I can name all kinds of people, but it's kind of like birds of a feather flock together. You attract people who are like you. This is all those things that we talk about, the homilies, I guess you could say. You don't recruit what you want, recruit who you are. Those kinds of things. When you each one kind of carries its own message, right? That you can go half hour, 45 minutes on, It just got me to thinking when Andy's talking about stuff like this. He talks about managers sitting, shuffling paper and not even getting on the phone to dial a new prospect. I've been thinking about this just over the past several days about productivity and, back in the day, when we were, when Mike, Noel, Patrick, and I were out in the field, when we first got in this thing, all we were really thinking about was making money selling. I was probably the most prolific one in hiring. Everyone else, we just want to make money, right? Even though I was hiring people, I need to go out there and make sales. And so back in the day, what we were taught is get on the phone every day. If you book, 2-3 appointments a day, you're going to close one. If you make one sale a day for 5 days, that's 5 sales, and you'll be in 6-figure income level. That's what we were taught. We're not taught the compressing time frames of, putting a week's worth of appointments in 2 days. We were just taught every day you dial, every day you book appointment, every day you run appointments, and then all the other times that you weren't doing that, you were recruiting, you were putting newspaper ads, you're on the phone interviewing people, okay? That's the way we were taught. And so then we graduated or evolved to compressing time frames. We found some really good, strong producers that did all their dials in a day and a half and then ran the next 2.5 days. Very concentrated, But back in the day, we had leads, we were swimming in leads just locally in our surrounding counties. So we didn't have to really travel. So maybe that was the advantage we had. We could get on the phone every day, book appointments, run appointments. And so why do I mention that? I think I mention that primarily because what we were focused on selling, recruiting, and then eventually everyone started learning how to build. I mean, I knew how to build. Patrick and Mike ended up building later, okay, after they established, their sales rhythm and flushing their jobs. That's what they were focused on, flushing their jobs. I flushed mine. But probably one of the most important things that taught us was working every day. We made dials every day so that we can run appointments every day, so we can make money every day. And back in the day, we were only paid once a week. So they would accumulate all our commissions in 1 week and then they'd pay us on Monday. So we would find out what our commission was on Saturday morning, and then it would be deposited into our accounts on Monday. So Saturday morning, man, we were always hitting the refresh button on the website and looking how much we were going to get paid. We were using really one carrier, F&G Life. And so, so I remember, man, that Saturday mornings we were fired up because we were calling each other, hey, dude, what'd you get? And they tell me what they were going to get a deposit on Monday, and I would tell them what I would get, and I was getting some insane numbers. Like, I remember distinctly one time we did. I was with Adam, actually, Adam Katz. It was me, Patrick, Adam. We were at a function. It was a Saturday morning, and we were in our rooms, kind of hanging out, or in a room. I think it might have been Patrick's room. And then going, hey man, can you get online? And yeah, let's go check our commission statements. So I remember we were checking commission statements. Mine was like 17.5. That was going to be deposited Monday. Patrick's and Adam's, they were like right around the same. It was pretty crazy. But again, what we were focused on was writing business every day. We called every day. So we go on appointments every day. And so I'm not saying that you need to do that. Okay, I'm not saying that you need to do that. Okay, but here's my point. My point is that every day we knew what we were going to do. We knew that we were going to dial to make appointments. We knew that we had appointments that we were going to run. So we had to call the carrier to get prepared for those appointments, underwriting and so on. And then all the rest of the time, we were putting ads in the papers, and we were either training somebody on the phone, or we were meeting with a small group of people we hired in a city. And back then, we only trained in the city. So Patrick started hiring in Indianapolis. So every week he was in Indianapolis training and passing out leads to his agents, taking in paper applications. See, back then, we didn't take faxes. Well, no, they had to mail it in. We weren't allowed to fax stuff. We had to turn in the actual wet ink paper documents. So people were overnighting their policies to us, and we were picking them up. We'd go to different cities where we were building. We had to physically go there. Okay. Again, I'm not going down memory lane for the purpose of saying, oh, the old days. No, I'm saying is that we knew what we were going to do every time we woke up in the morning. Every morning, we knew what we were going to do. We had a game plan. We knew that we had to dial to book appointments. We knew that we had appointments that day. And then all the rest of the time, we were putting newspaper ads. Okay, we're putting newspaper ads. We were answering newspaper ads, responders, because they would leave voicemails. So we're taking voicemails, and then we'd have our admin person write down all the names and numbers. And then we'd be calling these people up, setting up appointments. In other words, I just remember every moment just seemed filled with doing the business. Then we had family time that we worked in there too, but I just remember we were working all the time, and we had the most fun. And that was back in the day when we didn't know what we were doing. We really didn't. We were taught by the carrier's underwriting departments. We'd call at F&G Life, and we'd ask them about the product. We were trained by calling the company up. We were trained by their underwriters. Okay, we call Alan, the underwriter, and he'd teach us about underwriting. It was amazing. But again, I go back to, we woke up every day, we knew what to do. Okay, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have resume databases. Back in 1999, 2000, there were, I think maybe Monster came out, but we weren't, we were just doing newspaper ads. Again, we woke up every day, when our feet hit the floor, we knew what we were going to do. There was just very little time, because we didn't have social media, right? We didn't have smartphones. I think the phones we had back then were flip phones. There was no data, okay? So what am I really saying is that there's so many distractions now. There's so many distractions now. So I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about until I start rambling on, but now I think I know what I'm going to talk about. Talk about, like, what are you doing, man, with your time? What are you doing with your time? Remember, there are 3 things you can invest in your business: time, money, and emotion. All right? The most important is time, because you can never get time back. Like Andy said, You lose time, you lose it forever. Like, I don't take lightly that you're on this call with me for the next, maybe the next 30 minutes, all right? And you've been on the call with me for the last 15 or so, because you never get the time back. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get in your head with right thinking so that you can move forward and operate your day in a better way. Money, you can lose money, make money. Okay, you can lose money, make money. Emotion, man, that's a head job. That's an inside job. How to handle the emotions of the business. That's what we try to get our minds right so we can handle the emotion of the business. But let's talk about the time issue, okay? So, have you ever put a budget together? Have you ever put a budget together? Okay, one of the first rules of putting a budget together is to figure out where is your money going. So what all the experts say is that you need to take inventory of where your money's going. So at the end of the day, you keep all your receipts and then you categorize, was this meals? Was this eating out? Was this entertainment? Was this, what were the expenses how'd you spend your money today? How'd you spend your money this week? How'd you end up spending your money at the end of the month? If you have no idea how you're spending your money, then you're already behind. You already are in trouble. Because if you don't know how you're spending your money, then, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you're doing with your money. Does that make sense? If you don't know how you're spending it, you have no idea what you're doing with your money. Okay? So I might be hitting you between the eyes even right now for the analogy, right? Like, it's funny when I ask people, so how much do you spend on average on leads every month? I don't know. Okay, how much do you spend on gas every month? I don't know. Oh my God, dude. How much do you spend on gas that you can deduct for taxes, and then how much of your gas that you spent that month is on personal use? I don't know. How much money do you spend? I mean, you just name it, right? Okay. That's not what, okay, I'm using that as an analogy. That's not the point of this talk. That's a whole nother talk. But the analogy is the same for your time. Now, if time is more important, as we said, than money, because time you can never get back, isn't it more important that you know how to budget your time and then how to budget your money? But I'm talking time. So now let's go into a mental evaluation on where's your time going every day. All right? So, I'll get out my TI-55 calculator. I don't know if you all remember, you probably don't because you're not my age, but back in the day when I went to the Air Force Academy, they issued us a TI-50, Texas Instruments TI-55 calculator. Okay, so I'm going to be very simple. I'm going to try to be. So there's 24 hours in a day times 7 days in a week. So you have 168 hours. In a week. Now, there's this great book called 12-Week Year. I've read the book. It's a pretty fantastic book on compressing time frames called 12-Week Year. And what a 12-week year is something that Andy's taught really on how to compress, a year into a quarter. 12 weeks is a quarter. So you press, and so each week becomes a month. So like 12 weeks is like 12 months. So how do you compress a year into a quarter? Is like saying, how do I compress a month into a week, right? And how can I compress a week into a day, right? Little less than a day, okay? So with that mentality in mind, how to compress your time frames, how to become more efficient, you got to really figure out where your time's going. So let's kind of look at the importance of things that you need to do with your time. Let's kind of rank order. Let's like when it comes to a budget, you got to figure out what you're doing with your time. So let's just be very conservative. Okay, so let's say you get 8 hours of sleep a night. Okay, now I know some of y'all need it. Some of y'all sleep in for 8 hours. I can't sleep for 8 hours. I get up at 4 or 5 hours. I just can't sleep more than 6. I usually get up about 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But let's say you use 8. Again, I'm being very conservative. So 8 times 7 is 56 hours. So let's subtract sleep. 56 is your sleep time. So 168 minus 56. They got 112 hours. Okay. So let's go with the basic needs. Okay, you gotta pee and you gotta poop. You gotta get rid of all the waste in your body. Do you think you spend an hour a day getting rid of stuff? Okay. All those little short, if you drink a lot of water, you're probably doing more. But do you think an hour a day is probably enough? Like some of y'all use the toilet as a reading library, so I appreciate you getting your reading in. Okay, but if you do your business, I mean, is it crazy to say an hour a day? I know this is gross, but potty talk. So let's say it's 7 hours a week that you spend. I know that's strange, isn't it? Minus 7, and then we'll just call this toilet time. Toilet time. 112 minus 7. And chat at me, okay, if I'm missing something or if my math is off. So you got 105 hours left. Okay, so you got to eat. Everybody's got to eat. You got to go, run through fast food or grab an apple or do whatever. And so back in the academy days, they taught us how to eat in like 15 minutes. So what we would do is we'd march to lunch in formation, and that would take about 10 minutes from when we form up to when we get in. I mean, can you imagine 4,000 cadets marching into the dining hall? It was amazing. The clockwork and how precise it was, just so we can get in and out in 15 minutes. So we ate in 15 minutes. Okay, so let's say do you think you spend maybe an hour a day eating? Okay. That might be a lot. Maybe you're spending half hour with your family and then 15 minutes, whatever. I mean, again, I'm just kind of being crazy, but you think maybe 7 hours, an hour a day eating, taking in food. Okay, again, I'm being very conservative. So 105 minus 7. So now you got 98 hours in a week. Okay, so you got your sleep done, toilet time, eating, personal hygiene. Okay, maybe take half hour. Do you think half hour is enough for like brushing your teeth and taking a shower and getting out of the shower? Some of y'all wear makeup, okay, regardless of gender. You got to put product in your hair, so maybe it's an hour a day. But I know some of y'all take long showers. Some of you, brush your teeth at night. Like personal hygiene, do you think that's an hour a day? Personal hygiene. Okay, so let's take another minus 7 for personal hygiene. Again, your mileage may vary, So, okay, we got sleeping, toilet time, eating, personal hygiene. See, what else is a necessity? Gosh, I can't. Okay, so let's say you do worship time. So some of y'all do like 3 hours in the Sunday morning and 3 hours Sunday evening. So some of y'all do like 6 hours. If you're Catholic, it's anyway. And that's a personal choice. But let's say 6 hours a week. Do you think that's enough for prayer time in the morning and worship time? 6 hours. You think 6 hours is enough? Like if, especially, you do like heavy on Sunday, I don't know, 6 hours maybe? All right, we're losing people. There's a point to all this. Let's call this worship. Maybe you do daily devotions. 91 minus 6. It's 85 hours. Now we're at 85 hours after your worship time. Okay. Okay, so let's say family time. You got to spend time with your family. I got that. That's cool. So family time. So maybe you help your kids with homework. Maybe that's an hour a night, 7 hours or 5 hours. Maybe you spend Friday night with your wife or husband. You do date night. So that's like 5 hours, like 1 hour helping your kids. And then maybe date night with your wife once a week or with your spouse. So maybe that's 4 hours. So that's 9 hours. And then like with your family. And then maybe 6 hours on a Sunday night. So let's say 15 hours. Okay. So let's say family time is 15 hours a week. If I'm off, again, this is just sort of like, let's just kind of go through this exercise. You put your own numbers here, but I'm just going through just a mental exercise with you. So now we're down to 70 hours, okay? So now let's go bring the 70 up here. $70 hours. After we've got rid of sleep time, toilet time, eating, personal hygiene, worship time, family time. Okay, family time is not sitting in front of the TV with your family. Okay, let's define this. This is when you're spending time with your children, finding out how school's going, getting to know your child, raising your children, spending time with your spouse, getting to know your wife, your husband, hanging out, not in front of the TV. But Alex, it's like, that's my family time. Brother and sister, this ain't going to be marriage counseling or family counseling, but I am not going to define y'all sitting in front of the TV together. Now, if you're watching a Joel Osteen together and you're talking about what he's saying, okay, maybe that counts. Worship time, family time, all right. Okay, but I'm just talking the average everyday family sitting in front of TV eating popcorn, So, like, how many of y'all are doing 15 hours a week of that? Okay, hang with me. We're losing people. Okay, so defining terms. So 70 hours. But Alex, I work. I have a job. Okay. So this is where the point of departure is for full-time versus part-time. So you got to make money. So let's say 40 hours a week. Let's say 50 hours a week. 40 hours, whatever. So 40 hours. Now you got 30 hours. Okay, this is your job. And then let's just say it's an hour. So it's 7:40. So let's say 50 hours. Okay, so now you've got 20 hours. Okay, or, so if you don't have a job, let's bring this down. 70 hours. Okay, so this is no job. You're working with us full time, right? And then this is, you have a job, so you have 20 hours. All right. So here's my question for you. After you get rid of your necessities in your life, you took care of God time and family time, personal hygiene, eating, toilet time, and sleep. Now you got the time we're talking about is discretionary time to do what you want to do. Okay, so now you got 20 hours or 70 hours. Okay, so how many of y'all are full-time? If you don't got a job, you got 70 hours. If you got a job, maybe you got 20 hours. Like I had a job when I got this thing started, and I was making about $2,500 a week with a job and still doing my business. So what comes out of your discretionary time? I don't know. But if I had 20 hours, I could make six-figure income in this business on 20 hours. Okay, and you're trying to work yourself out of a job. If you don't have a job, you got 70 hours. Now tell me what you're doing with that time, gang. What 70 hours? But let's go to the person that has a job, 20 hours. Well, so here, my opinion, okay? My opinion only is I need to listen. Okay, so now we're into, I need to educate. Okay, you got to figure out time. Remember, you got 8 hours of sleep. Now, if you want an extra 2 hours of sleep and sleep on 6 hours, that's 2 hours times 7, that's 14 more hours. So if you decide to go to 6 hours of sleep, this is 8 hours, there's time there that you can subtract from, okay, but you got the TWC, you got to listen to this stuff. Even if you're working, you got the TWC, which is an hour and a half. You've got the product call, which is an hour, and then an activity call. So that's 1.5 plus 1 plus 1. So that's 3.5 hours, okay, of education. So that is 20, that's 6.5 hours. I'm sorry, 16.5 hours, right? 16.5 hours left. Here, you've got, what, the difference is 50, 66.5 hours. Okay. You educate. Okay, you got the hotspot meetings, minus what, 3 for hotspot. 13.5, so 63.5. Okay, left. All right. So you got your hotspot meeting. Dial time, what is it? So if you do how many hours, it's 30, let's say $30 an hour. You book, say, 3 appointments an hour. So to an hour. So let's say you do 150, let's say, so 7 hours. So 7 times 3, 21 appointments, 7 hours of dialing, that's 210 dials. Okay, so that's 7 hours dialing. So 13, that's 6.5 hours. Okay, minus 7, again, that's 56.5 hours left. And then this is where you're running appointments. Okay, so this person at 6, so you can run appointments in 6 hours. Boom, you're done. Here, you do way more than that. Here's my point. Like, have you looked at what you're doing with your time? Okay, now, if you want to get more time back, cut sleep to 6. So it's 2 hours, that's 14. Add 14 more hours. That's 70. 14, that's 20.5. Okay. So my question is, what are you doing with it? Like, so do you have Facebook time? Do you have social media time? Do you have workout? Let's say you work out an hour a day, so that's minus 7 for workout. You can, subtract time for working out. My point is this. Do you know what you're doing to this level of detail so that you know how much discretionary time you have to put into the business? Okay, if your priorities are set the way that I set mine, okay, you don't have to do what I do. But my priority is God, family, the business, right? And then when I had a job, My job is what helps sustain my bills until I get my business up and running. It was number 3. When I look at this, okay, I got my God time taken care of, my family time taken care of. Then I look at all my personal stuff I need to get done to live. I've got this time on this side as my discretionary time. Like if I'm working a job, it's on this side. If I'm not working a job, oh my gosh. So when I seen activity calendars or activity books that show me 150 dials, 75 dials, okay, tell me which side you're on. Well, Alex, I Uber. I can't do $250 because I Uber. Okay, do you think that's covered here on 50 hours of the job? So are you doing 50 hours of Ubering? Because if you're doing 50 hours of Ubering, then what you're telling me is that you've got 20 hours that you're not doing anything, that you should be doing something with. Does this make sense? Okay, I'm being crazy here, like all this stuff. Maybe there's some trade-off here, but until you know this, you don't know this. And then you're thinking, Alex, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not getting enough done. Okay, calm down. Okay, there are no alliance emergencies. There is no alliance emergency. Everything is just the next thing to overcome. Just like that movie Martian with Matt Damon. The only reason why he was able to stay alive in Mars was because he solved each problem one at a time. He had to figure out, I need to drink, I need to hydrate my body, I need to eat. I need to take care of those things, right? I need to sleep, I need to eat, you got to get rid of it. And that's over here. Now I need to figure out how to get off this dadgum planet. And so the rest of the time, after he got his survival stuff taken care of, then it's like, I got to do everything I can to get off this planet. So he solved every problem, and then boom, everything came together because he was able to be focused on what he wanted to accomplish and get off Mars. You're trying to get off the planet of poverty. Okay? You're trying to get off the planet of poverty. So you got to survive on the planet of poverty until you can lift off, until they can, I'm sending you a ship. I'm rescuing you with my ship. It's called the Prosperity Ship of the Alliance, piloted by Andy Albright. He's coming to help you. He's coming to rescue you. Now you got to get your part to get just enough off the planet of poverty to just get your little module like boosted up in the air so he can catch you. Does that make sense? All this is you're getting just boosted up out of the gravity of poverty so he can capture you in his Alliance Prosperity spaceship. So he can jet you off into the land of freedom, opportunity, land of pie, prosperity, inspiration, and eternity. Right? So tell me, how hard are you working here to put your time towards the things he mentioned? What are you doing with your time, and who are you investing in if you're building a business? What are you investing your time in? Remember last week I talked about education times work times attitude equals results. Right? This is all part of it now. The time you put in to doing the education times work times attitude equals personal growth, which equals goals, dreams, and freedom. Okay, so last week I talked about the formula. This week I'm talking about how to apply the time to the formula. I talked about education in here. I talked about work in here. I talked about attitude in here. It's with this time right here. So tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing. Because anything else outside of serving your God, your family, and your business, right? You can put health up here. I appreciate that. I work out. It doesn't look like it, but I do. You can put this up in here and apportion your time accordingly and still have time to do this. Is social media up here? Look, you decide what to do with this time here. Recruiting comes out of this. All right. All right, can I hear an amen? You understand this? I'm going to unmute to see if anyone has any questions.
All participants are unmuted.
Does this make sense? Okay. What's not on here is drama. Okay. Let's put that over here. What's not included on this side, since no one has anything.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Okay. Drama. No drama. No drama. Okay. These are time wasters. No negative. Worry. No worry. Fear. You ain't got time for fear. You ain't got time for doubt. Remember what Andy said, who are you listening to? See, this is these are Satan's tools. This is Satan's tools to throw you off track. All this stuff. It all comes from him. All right? No drama, no negative, no worry, no fear, no doubt. The only time when you listen to this, it thwarts all of this. See, what he does is he makes you like put more time in personal hygiene. You know, you gotta look pretty or whatever. You know, he obviously doesn't want you to worship. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna make you feel guilty about this, so you feel like you have to go to 10 Bible studies. You know, I mean, he messes you up. So who are you listening to? Are you going to listen to give into this, what Satan's tools are? Or are you going to listen to Andy Albright, you know, which is God-inspired, to put your mind right in the alliance process? Talked about last week. See, this is your umbrella from all of this, right? The alliance process is your umbrella for all of that. So this rain doesn't land on you, right? And you can operate in the sunshine and freedom of the alliance process if you put your time into the right things. Does that make sense? So 3 things: time, money, and emotion. Man, this is a time discussion like no other. Hopefully, this will get your mind right on how to budget your time, right? And then this goes into the A, B, C, D, E. See, all of this, the backdrop, all of this is Andy's A, B, C, D, E. Okay, making sure you're operating in the A's, right? You know, so, you know, this stuff's important, but then are all these A activities? Is shuffling your paper count? No, it doesn't. Shuffling paper from left to right. Organizing your leads. You know, I mean, you do need to be organized. That's part of it, but okay, you got to get stuff done. So anyway, hopefully this helped. Any other questions? You can chat at me. I'm going to unmute one more time.
All participants are unmuted.
Anybody? All right. Rock on, gang. I hope this helped. I got some plans, man, for some of y'all. We got some good stuff going on. So let's rock and roll, man. Appreciate you. God bless you. Take care.
This session is no longer being recorded.